happening today? So it's annular solar eclipse day. So the moon is going to obscure the sun more than a little bit. It should be visible in the sky in many parts of the world. I don't know if it will be here. It's kind of a grey, kind of a cloudy sky here, but we know it's happening in the background wherever we are. So in this video we're going to do a bit of a reading because it's also new moon day and the new moon is in Gemini, not in Cancer, as I said on the live video last night. But if you're watching in the future, that doesn't really matter, does it? Nettles are certainly growing, and it's true you can make nettle soup, but you can only make nettle soup out of these tiny little new bits at the top, and preferably a bit earlier in the season. They get a bit tough and a bit nasty at this time, so these are kind of useless, but I just love the way nature takes over. You can see how nature's taken over this patch of brassicas. Very unfortunate. I don't like to use chemicals on the slugs. Not that I'm massively concerned for the slugs, I've got to admit, but you know, the food ends up tasting of slug pellets. But we've still got a few leaves here, and I did manage to eat quite a few of those leaves from the plants down there that are no more. Leeks are coming on nicely, and there's other things trying to grow in there with the leeks as well. But this is going to be a nice load of leeks for later in the summer, and some of them will go over winter as well. Coming up here, the Jerusalem artichokes are growing really nicely there. They're climbing up their string there. There's a load more of them climbing up their string. Some more that haven't got string yet in round pots at the back. And there is the main patch of Jerusalem artichokes, so I'm delighted with those. Unfortunately, the sage plant isn't doing anything this year. It seems to have died, so that's most unfortunate. I shall have to get some more. I wonder if that's symbolic, a sage plant dying. A scary thought if it is. So before I do anything else today, I've got to nip to the shops because I ordered this spanner thing so I can get the wheels off the car. You know, like you need a spanner to, you know, if you get a burst tyre or something like that. And the spanner that came with the car is like useless. It's all kind of torn at the edges. So I've ordered another one. I'm going to go down, pick that up, maybe get some more food as well. And we'll get back to the homestead and do a reading. But meanwhile, I know you guys love the driving videos, so let's do some driving. Wow, you can really tell it's solar eclipse day actually. I mean, it kind of gets dull and dark like this anyway at times. This is Wales, it rains a lot, this is the land of Merlin, this is what it's like most of the time actually. But there's a special sort of characteristic about the dullness when we're getting a solar eclipse, and I'm doing this, I'm actually recording this right now. This very moment, the car clock tells me, is 10:53 AM in UK, and so we're about an hour away from the time when the partial solar eclipse happens, so it's darkening up already. I said we wouldn't be able to see it in the sky because of the cloud, or at least, you know, unless the cloud clears very quickly, we won't be able to see it, but we can certainly see the effect it's having. Not many birds singing, not many birds singing, not many animal noises going on either, so you know, the animals are reacting to the eclipse as well. They don't know what's going on, but they do go very quiet when the sun mysteriously darkens like it is doing now. I'm doing this right now because I want to actually be at home when the actual moment of the eclipse comes, because even though I doubt very much I'm going to get to see it today, it's a real good time for manifestation. You know, there's just, the veil is thin, as we say. You know, the veil between this world and the next becomes very thin at these times. When there's something going on like a new moon or a full moon, and certainly when there's the energy of an eclipse in the air, it's a very powerful time. So I want to be at home with my candles lit, just maybe not thinking too much, just clearing my mind and waiting to see what comes, what happens, because as I'm always telling you, and I've probably put in the title as well, this is the land of Merlin, and Merlin's life unfolded here for a reason. Probably a lot of reasons all coming together at once, if I know the influences. And so this really is the place to be, but I want to be at home when the eclipse moment happens. I have to go and collect this parcel because a lot of the delivery firms just will not deliver to my house, but they will lie and say that they tried to deliver it and I was out. So I get it sent to somewhere else. And this is one of the reasons I don't kind of have my address out there for people to send things, and I'm really grateful that you guys would like to sometimes send things. But I don't put my address out there because you wouldn't believe the nightmare it turns into trying to collect things from different places. And especially when the delivery company are willing to lie about trying to find the place. It gets really difficult because I get blamed, you know. So I think DPD, which is the courier, has blacklisted me, and I've certainly blacklisted them. So I am back, got my spanner, got some food, got to have some snacks to get through the day, you know what I mean. And I've taken my seatbelt off because this isn't a road, this is like the muddy track down to the house where there are no other cars. So I'm super safe and super coolio without a seatbelt on down here, which is part of the freedom of the country. Some of you guys been asking me about how narrow the roads are, how it's possible to pass anything. And where did the pedestrians go? Well, I don't know how we pass each other, to be honest. I couldn't tell you. It just happens, you know. Someone has to reverse a long way, or quite often we can manage to pull in. A lot of what's at the side of the road is green foliage, and you can just kind of drive into it, squish it in a bit, and then people can get past. But yeah, it's mad, but I've never been completely stuck in 30 odd years. I did once have to reverse about 2 miles, but only once ever in history. And there just aren't any cycle lanes, there aren't any pedestrian lanes, because it's a very, very old place. The track that I'm on now is incredibly old. I don't know how old. I know my house has been there for 400 years or more. We don't know, roughly 400 years when I moved in, so it's 430 years now roughly. But this was here before. There's a quarry just over by the trees there, where they got the stone from when they built my house. Oh, got a letter for next door. No letter for me today, but a letter for next door. Anyway, right, let's get down the lane, back in the house, and we will do a reading for this amazing occasion of the partial solar eclipse, which is beginning to take effect. Actually, we're still about 20 minutes away from it, but it's beginning to take effect quite drastically now. It's getting really quite dark, and so you can see how dark it's getting. And we will go in the house and we will do a reading. So here we are. We've got 5 Moonology cards. We've got 5 tarot cards. Now, you could pick all 10 of these cards. You could pick any one card you want. You could pick a combination. It's entirely up to you. You've got to be your own psychic. And this is a great time to do it when we've got a new moon coming into being, and we've also got a solar eclipse going on. Pretty much at the same time. They're slightly apart, slightly different timings, but it's all happening right now. And I really mean right now as well. I was going to watch the eclipse and then do this, but I can't see the eclipse going on in the sky because it's completely clouded over. So let's use this magical time. Let's do a reading now. So friends, which cards are you going to pick? Have a think about that. And trust your psychic instincts. You know, you will pick the card that's right for you. This happens again and again. People are always telling me in the comments. And tell me how you get on with this reading in the comments, friends. It's always good to know. Tell me how you spent your time over the eclipse as well. That too is really good to know. It helps our spirit guides get zeroed into one another. So let's turn over the first Moonology card. We'll do a Moonology card and then the tarot card that goes with it. And we'll go along like that. So the first Moonology card, here it is, fixed moon, hold your vision. Well, we certainly haven't got a fixed moon at the moment. It's very much a new moon. But these are oracle cards. They don't actually predict what's going on with the moon at any one moment. But they do predict the moon's effect, the moon's influence, I should say, over what's going on in your life at the moment. Now, hold your vision is a real important thing. As the years go by, time passes, we get different ideas about what we want to do. Some of them are really good ideas, but we all come into this world with some kind of mission, some kind of spiritual task, or something we've got to do to leave the world a slightly different place, at least a slightly different place to the way it was when we came into it. That's what human life is all about. That's what reincarnation is really all about. So your soul actually has a kind of a vision of where you're supposed to go in life, what you're supposed to do, and a lot of people give up on that because it seems to be beyond your wildest dreams, you know, and I really know that feeling. But if you keep working at it, you will make a difference. That's a fact. So if new influences come in, which they're likely to do at this time of a new moon, actually, weigh things up before you do anything to really change anything, because the chances are you're going in the right direction. Generally speaking, in spiritual terms, we tend to find ourselves doing more or less what we're meant to do at a given time. It might work out, it might not work out, but that's the nature of success and lessons. Sometimes it's a success, sometimes it isn't, but that's a lesson. Sometimes the success is a lesson in itself. But hold on to that vision of the spiritual plan that you've got for yourself, because that is divinely given to you. It really is. So what have we got for a tarot card to go with Hold Your Vision, the fixed moon card? Let's turn this over. Tarot in Wonderland, and it's the Empress. Now, the Empress is all about nature energy, the power of Mother Nature, really. That's something the Empress understands very well. And in Tarot in Wonderland, it's no different, but it does have its own sort of extra additional meanings. Every special deck that comes out has its own particular special meaning. And that's why there are so many different tarot decks. When I started reading tarot in the 80s, there were only 3 or 4 available, actually. And it's great that so many have come out now in different ways, looking at different aspects of things. Because just like, you know, there are so many billions of people in the world and everyone has their own mission, every deck has its own version of the message of the tarot. And in this version, the Empress, who is very rich in all matters of nature, is actually needing some help here, because that natural link that she has is very strong, and it kind of excludes how clever and careful she is in the real world, in the material world. And we do all have to live in that material world. And that is the sort of influence, actually, the material world influence, that can really make a difference to your vision. You can tend to change your vision of where you want to go spiritually to make it fit with the earth. And really, I suppose it's got to fit with the earth in one way or another, but it's going to fit with the earth because that's the mission you've actually been given. So hang on to the vision you've got, the direction you want to go in. The other meaning of this card, as Alice is helping the Empress, is that, you know, there are people in the world who are sympathetic, who are supportive, who will help you with your mission as you go forward. So, like, you don't have to do it totally alone, which is something of a blessing. So it's number 3 in the major arcana, the Empress. They're quite early in the journey of the tarot, really. The major arcana is the beginning of the tarot journey, and we've had the Fool, we've had the Magician, we've had the High Priestess, and now the Empress. This is where we are right at this special time of a new moon carrying us forward. Full moon's coming up on the 24th of June, and so we're on our way to that full moon and then into another moon cycle. It never stops changing, but do hold your vision. Okay, the moon itself is never really fixed. A fixed moon is a name that we give it. But the moon is always moving. Nature's cycles are always moving, and things are always turning over. So there we have position number 1. Let's turn over Moonology card number 2. Full moon in Capricorn. The end of a tough cycle approaches. So the Capricorn energy is all about not just hanging on, but the ability to hang on. And this goes very well with the idea of holding your vision, actually, because Capricorn, the sign of the goat, is all about being able to really hold on tightly to things, because goats can climb up sheer walls. They're absolutely amazing in their ability to do that, and they're very sure-footed. They don't take a step forward until they're absolutely sure that the ground under their feet is going to be solid. So there's an idea of kind of taking your time over things here, and certainly then you're going to need to hold your vision, so I can see how that works. It's also a full moon card, so this is the energy we're moving towards in this early part of the reading. This is very much the beginning of things, but it says the end of a tough cycle approaches, and that's when it's extra important to hang on tightly. It's very easy when things look as if they're about to work out
positively, to just let go of everything you've been trying to hang on to, and just to kind of take for granted that things are going to work out. Not necessarily. So hold your vision and also hold on tightly, because the end of that tough cycle is actually approaching, which is good news. But there's just a little bit more of the journey, a little bit more of the battle to go before we actually get there. So what is tarot card number 2? Let us see. 7 of Cups. Right, now then, wow, these cards are all going together very well at the moment. So the Cups are all about the things we want, the things we desire. And when we think about a tough cycle, it's a part of life that's taken us away from what we want to do, what we actually desire to happen. And the 7 of Cups has a lot of confusion about it. Alice is doing the right thing looking forward. We've got the candles here, and we've got all these crazy images on the board behind her. Is it a cupboard? I'm not sure what it is, but it's certainly a wooden board of some kind. And all these amazing images are on here. And life can really dazzle us with things that mean nothing, with things that aren't actually going to help us. Those are the distractions, that go with the spiritual journey. So again, holding your vision is so important. And the fact that there's some help coming in to all the amazing nature energy is important too. So important to hang on tight like a goat would, because the end of a tough cycle is approaching, so the end of these distractions is in sight. And Alice, as I say, has done the right thing. She's looked away from all those distractions and she's looking straight forward, straight ahead. And life is never straightforward, but it's always worth looking straight ahead. That's where the answers are. That's where your journey is taking you. So we come to card number 3. This and the tarot card number 3 are going to be the heart of the matter. This is what the whole reading pivots on. And step out of your comfort zone, it says. And we've got the North Node here. Now, if you've ever had a birth chart done, you will know about your North Node, what is going on in your North Node. And the North Node is really all about the direction you're taking in life, actually about going straight forward, like the way Alice is looking ahead here. The South Node is where you're coming from as a person. The North Node is where you're actually headed towards. So if you haven't had a birth chart done, do get one. You can get them free from all the major astrological websites. I would recommend Cafe Astrology. I would recommend alab.com. That's ALABE.com. They will do you a very good free birth chart. But if you want to know the full fine details, drop me an email, 35and83@gmail.com. It's down below this video in the description, that email address, and I will very happily produce a birth chart for you for a small fee, I'm afraid, but there you go, it's what I do for a living. But anyway, it's saying step out of your comfort zone, and you're never actually going to make that journey towards the North Node anything like as successfully as you would like to make it if you're not willing to step out of your comfort zone. And I think we all know that feeling, to be honest. If I was speaking to very small children, maybe we wouldn't all know that feeling, but I'm sure any of us who've lived past the age of about 7 years old probably know that feeling. You've got to step out of your comfort zone to really take in the experiences that life has to offer you, because even though we're talking about holding your vision, even though we're talking about hanging on quite tightly, really, to the journey we're on and the direction we're going in, we have actually got to go in that direction, and that is always going to bring new experiences. So the heart of the matter for Moonology here, North Node, step out of your comfort zone. Let's turn over tarot card number 3, and it's the Knight of Cups. Now then, he's quite I could almost say a stick in the mud. I'm struggling to find the right words for this here, but I'm always struggling to find the right words, you'll know that, especially if you watch my lives, because I have to think of them sort of very quickly. There's no editing with the lives, but they are great fun, actually. And they're running at the moment. I'm trying to do them 3 times a week, Wednesday and Sundays. That's 9 p.m. UK time, so 3 p.m. Central USA time. Also going to be doing one 6:30 p.m. UK time on Friday, which is 30 minutes past midday, 12:30 in Central USA time. Anyway, right, back to the matter at hand. The Knight of Cups, looking longingly, we've got a second cup card here. So this really is all about what we want, what we're looking for. And there's nothing selfish about what you want, you know. The influences that draw us to want certain things are all part of the way we are led through life. And the things we're attracted to, the things we're drawn to because we're meant to be drawn to them. It's all part of our mission. So the Knight of Cups is on his mission here, but the horse is either moving very slowly or not moving at all. It's difficult to tell, but there's not a lot of action going on here. And the Knight of Cups is looking at his cup as if it's full of fine wine, and he wants to really appreciate that fine wine. So he takes his time, really, and that's a very important thing in the journey towards what you desire, what you want to get out of life. Being willing to take your time is so important. There is no time at all, of course, in the spiritual realms that we're talking about here, and which are responsible for so much of our journey and where all the guidance comes from. No time at all. So do be prepared to actually take your time as you step out of your comfort zone. Okay, that sounds like a contradiction, but it really isn't, because a lot of us don't really want to step out of the comfort zone. We know we have to, and it is good to do that, but it's good to do it in a timely way, because unlike the spiritual realms, we live in a world of time and motion and distances between people and the laws of physics, basically. So it's important to time things well. So if you're not actually ready to go rushing forward at this moment, take your time and know that although you're taking your time, you will eventually step out of your comfort zone and things will begin to change, you know, because life is long. And there is plenty of worldly time, I'm sure, for all of us to reach our spiritual goal. We always do in the end, you know, because it's divinely guided. So nothing to worry about there, really. Okay, so this is the heart of the matter. Where are we going next? Where is the rest of the reading taking us? So did you pick this one, friends, or did you pick them all? Let me know in the comments below. Blue Moon, believe in the impossible. This is great. Now, this also plays into everything. You'd think I'd looked at these cards first, and I really didn't. I shuffle, I lay them out, I set the camera up, and then I turn over. I'm seeing them new at the same time you're seeing them new, believe me. And believe in the impossible. So important. And this is crucial to our life mission, our journey through life, and what it means spiritually, because we never actually know where we're going to end up. It's the nature of life, but spirit guides do. The angels who help us and sustain us know where we're going. They see the outcome, because for them, as I keep saying, there is no time at all. Blue moons are very rare things, and this again is why you might want to wait for the rare moment. This is how these cards go together. They all seem to go together very well. Must be divinely guided. I'm sure it is, actually. I always ask for it to be divinely guided. And as you're asking for divine guidance, believe in the impossible, because some of the things you'll be shown will seem absolutely impossible. Some of them will seem as crazy as we're seeing in the Seven of Cups here, actually. But nothing is impossible. Absolutely nothing is impossible, particularly in things like relationships. Actually, in the live stream that I did last night, there was a chap talking about a lady who he's very likes very much, but she's kind of on the other side of the world, and they haven't been in touch for a long time. And I and several of the people in the chat actually were trying to persuade him that nothing is impossible, and maybe it'll happen. Maybe it could. The most incredible things can happen. Think about things that have amazed you in your life so far, and believe in the impossible, because the more impossible it seems, the more likely you are to be able to actually manifest it to happen in a positive, in a meaningful way. So what tarot card have we to go with this? The High Priestess, number 2. Okay, so actually in the deck it comes before the Empress here, but here is the High Priestess, and she is all about a journey. It's a spiritual journey, which can very easily be a physical journey as well. The physical journeys we make in this world bring us new connections, they bring us to new places, so they bring new understanding, new ways of being. So what's behind the curtain? That is the question. We can see the light shining through down there under the High Priestess's elbow, and Alice as this is the Tarot in Wonderland deck, Alice is wondering if she can actually go through, and the truth is she can. Now, this is only the third card in the Major Arcana, so it's right at the very beginning of the journey of the Tarot. So even with very little experience, just the fact that Alice is making this inquiry now, just like when we buy our first Tarot deck, we're very early on, but we are beginning a spiritual journey. Alice can make this journey, and although she doesn't know what's behind the curtains, she knows that it shines very brightly. And the two chess piece castles that we've got here represent the twin, the pillars, the two pillars of the tree of life. One is Bina, one is Shokma, one is masculine, one is feminine. That's how it works. And she's actually in between them here with the High Priestess. And there is a way up the tree of life without going up either of these pillars. That is the spiritual direction. That is the spiritual journey. And that has a lot to do with the impossible, believing in the impossible, because that's really that cosmic, that spiritual understanding of life is what really takes you up the spiritual way, up the tree of life. And that is so good for the soul's growth and the soul's journey. I'm sure it doesn't put an end to your string of your cycle, your soul cycle of reincarnation. I'm sure that never actually stops, but it will mean that you'll get a long way further in this incarnation and then be able to do more in future incarnations. So an exciting thought, really. And even though it's towards the end of the reading here, this is actually a very new beginning coming in. So believe in the impossible for that new beginning, for that new journey to take place and to make sense, which eventually, my friends, it will. It really will. And speaking of eventually things making sense, what have we got in position number 5? The energy is gaining momentum. And it's the waxing moon. I'm sure you know this, but I think it's worth saying. Just, these words get mixed up sometimes, don't they? A waxing moon is a rising moon. And as we're on the new moon at the very moment I'm doing this reading, then this is actually what's really happening with the moon at the moment. She is waxing. The energy is gaining momentum. And when we're actually on a full moon, it's a great time for making new plans. Sorry, when we're actually on a new moon, not a full moon, on a new moon, it's a great time for making plans. But we tend to like to tell people not to rush into putting those new plans into practice until the moon has been waxing for 2 or 3 days and she's properly visible in the sky again. It makes all the difference. She was kind of visible as a big black thing as she went across the sun in the solar eclipse, which is just like minutes ago since totality of that, or as near to totality as we're going to get with it. So that energy is gaining momentum now. And although this is an outcome card, this always happens with outcome cards. It's not a hard and fast outcome. It's taking you on to the next stage of your journey, because as a thing works itself out in life, there's always another step to come, another stage to grow through and to go through. And it's all about keeping moving. So the energy very much gaining momentum here. And if these birds are trying to fly to the moon, they won't be able to do it. But they'll have great fun trying, quite honestly. And look at this, lovely sort of purple colours we've got here. Real healing landscape going on there. So the only thing to do now is card number 5. Let's see what card number 5 has to tell us. Another cup card. It's the 6 of Cups. So that's the only suit cards we've got in this reading. 7 of Cups, Knight of Cups, and the 6 of Cups now. We've got the 2 Major Arcana cards. So this is all about longings, about desires, where we want to actually go in life. And the good news is the energy is gaining momentum to take us where we want to go. But the 6 of Cups is all about our association, our relationship, as it were, with the past. It's very easy to look back on past successes and say, I must do that again because that worked. It's also easy to look at past failures and say, I must never try that again. That didn't work. Just because something didn't work out at one point in the past doesn't mean it can't be good in the future. And likewise, just because something was really good in the past doesn't necessarily mean that it can happen again. But what we can do with the past, which is old news, is look back on it, pick out the things we've learned from the past, the lessons of the past. Ask ourselves, what do those lessons mean to us? If we want to make something good from the past happen again, we can think about, what was really good about that? How can we actually make it happen? If there was a wonderful relationship and that person has now gone out of your life and it looks like that person will never come back again, maybe you can find a relationship with another person who's kind of got the best points of that last person, but not so many of the difficult points, because we've all got negative and positive about us. It's a fact of life, it really is. And all part of the conundrum that we see in the Seven of Cups here, the craziness that we face on the journey to find what the heart's desire is all about. So we have actually got a beautiful scene here. It's very nice, and all the Six of Cups cards in all the decks I've got show some kind of nice scene, because it's pleasant, and it's a reminder that life can be pleasant again if it's not pleasant now, and that if life is pleasant now, it can keep on being pleasant, it can keep on being rewarding, and it can keep on bringing satisfaction. But the only reason to look back is to pick out the lessons, because we need to keep the lessons and we need to keep the love that we have in the past. Not so difficult to keep the love as long as we believe we can, because love is a superhuman thing. It needs no food, it needs no physical energy putting into it at all. Struggling for words again. Love just is, and if you've had a moment of love in the past, then that moment is still out there in the universe somewhere, still being a real thing, and I'm sure you can tap into it. I've got no doubt about that at all. But the energy is gaining momentum, so don't get bogged down in the past. Don't worry about the past. Keep on looking forward, and great things will happen. And there is our reading for today, for this incredible occasion actually, new moon and a solar eclipse at the same time. More eclipses coming up later in the year, more amazing energy coming absolutely all the time. And as this moon cycle keeps on going, taking us towards the full moon on the 24th of June, I hope that today's reading is going to make sense to you. I hope you'll keep it in your heart and keep it in your mind. But that's it for this time. Thanks very much for watching. Do let me know in the comments below how you feel about this. Anything you want to tell me about it. It's always interesting to know. It's all a part of keeping all of our spirit guides in touch with each other, which is a great thing. So do give me a thumbs up, please. Hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't already, because there are more videos coming all the time. I was going to say more videos like this, but they're not all like this. They're radically different. We've got the lives coming up, and do have a look through my library of videos, because if you're drawn to a video, even if it's a reading from a couple of years ago, or maybe even longer than that, maybe from last week, whatever, if you're drawn to a reading, that is the time to actually take that reading on board. We're drawn to these things at the times we're drawn to them for a reason. On that note, anyway, thanks very much for watching. Take good care of yourselves. Be good to each other. And I'll see you again in a future video, friends. Love and light and blessings and peace.